If stadiums could speak, what would this grand old dame say? Where would she start? And how would she bring order out of memory? For etched from all her yesterdays are 1,000 events and 1,000,000 faces. From popes to pop stars, presidents to personalities, from jubilation to contemplation, cheers to tears. (1965), a newly independent Singapore brimming with ideas for nation building. As a matter of national pride, a respectable sports stadium was crucial, not just for national events, but international and regional sporting competitions. Singapore was fortunate to have Othman Wok as its then Minister of Social Affairs. This minister proved to be a stalwart for sports and for the building of a brand new stadium. He campaigned tirelessly for the substantial amount of funds needed to get the plans off the ground.
It was early 1960s. We decided that Singapore should have a better sports facilities. We had only Jalan Besar Stadium and Kallang Stadium where we held our football matches, including the Malaya Cup. And also wanted to get the people to be interested in sport. And this is due to improve their health. We were recruiting our national service men, and we found that most of them lacked track. So we thought, if you do a campaign to get people to be interested in sport, then they will improve our youth health. And if you want to do that, you must have a good sport facilities. We invited Professor Tange from Japan and told him that we wanted the stadium complex to be built in Singapore. So he came back and gave us a briefing. Complete stadium complex, main stadium, indoor stadium, swimming pool, practice stadium, and other ancillary facilities. It was to cost us $100 million. Well, we couldn't afford to do that at the time because whatever money we had were for other priorities. For example, housing, schools, and medical, and so on and so forth. So we said, sorry, we couldn't carry out this project. So we decided only to have a stadium without the rest. So we went around looking other countries around us to see what sort of stadium we would like to have. Not too expensive, but suitable for Singapore.
The second design for the stadium would cost about $28 million. With the blessing of the Singapore government, on December 7th, 1966, the year Singapore celebrated her first National Day, Minister Othman Wok drove the first PAL into the grounds of Kallang Park. But getting the funds for the stadium was a real challenge. Over the years, Mr. Othman Wok repeatedly went to Parliament asking cabinet and private investors for funds. So much so, he was affectionately termed as professional beggar.
Well, I had to do it because I had no money. Otherwise, we can't carry on our sport activities.
Finally, with help from the Ministry of Finance and Singapore Pools, construction work could begin. On 23rd February 1970, Dr. Goh Keng Swee laid the foundation stone to the stadium. A time capsule was also sealed and in place in a ceremony attended by notable athletes.
Well, the helicopter flew up to somewhere here. Then the skydiver jumped out carrying the thing. The time capsule, it was in a round metal container. Yeah. Then he gave it to Nur Azhar, our high jumper. Then Azhar handed it to Dr. Goh Keng Swee. Okay. And then Dr. Keng Swee then he buried it, wasn't it?
He buried it, yeah. And then I was in charge of handing him the trowel so that he could smoothen the cement nicely.
It was a happy moment for both of us, isn't it?
Yeah, you got the money, yes.
Yeah. And because of that...
And I got the trouble.
It would take 3 years before the stadium started taking its definitive shape. Mr. Lo Tiong Fat remembers those nail-biting years well. After all, he was responsible for laying the running track of the stadium. Open to the elements, Mr. Lo remembers being at the mercy of heavy rain and blistering heat, which held up construction.
3M was called in to make a proposal for a tartan track. There was a time when the weather slowed us down, and then, of course, we were a little back in our progress. So we had to look for some additional help, and I was given that task. So I drove the company van all around, close by to the company, which was situated in Alexandria at that time. And I just offered jobs to all the strangers and people who were just walking around the road at that time. And I managed to pick up, about half a van load of people, people who are in their 50s, some old ladies, even in their 60s. Brought them down here in the van and asked them to help out here, and we paid them petty cash. Personally, for me, one of the most interesting part of that project was that, not only did we involve 3M personnel in this track, but we were able to even involve some of the Singaporeans,